Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Me and you both finished the campaign? Did you finish the campaign?
I did.
We both finished the campaign. I played a lot of zombies. I played multiplayer, both in the beta and when the game released. Miguel Concepcion reviewed it for us, gave it an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
He is not here. He does a lot of freelance work for us, but he's not in the office today. So I brought you on to talk about it because I think in the office, me and you were the ones that played the most.
Yeah, campaign. I played it.
Yeah.
It's a pretty fun campaign. Had a good time with it, yeah.
I think we agree the campaign is the most alluring. Let's jump into the campaign a little bit because that's the one we want to talk about the most. But to touch on zombies, I mean, like the Black Ops 3, the base game launched with the Noir one with Jeff Goldblum. That's pretty fun, but I actually really like the zombies. Zombies in Spaceland, very 80s themed, like neon clothes. There's the typical jock with a sports jacket on. There's the geek with he's got a bicycle helmet on. I don't know if what he's doing with that. But then there's, it's you could bring down David Hasselhoff and fight with you. The zombies has always been like, I was talking to Brian Bright. Well, we both went to Infinity Ward recently to shoot the feature videos, and Brian Bright, the lead designer on zombies, was saying like they were pretty much given instructions to make it as different from the base game as possible, like as a break from the frenetic multiplayer or just like the serious tone of the campaign narrative.
The zombies for a while had its own narrative. I mean, it wasn't as it was a super subtle narrative.
Nazi
right?
zombies had this
Nazi zombies
through all of them. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So I think that was another thing they got to steer away from, which is cool.
Yeah. So this is Infinity Ward's first time with zombies, because obviously Treyarch started it, but then Infinity Ward Modern Warfare 3 did Survival, I think, and then Ghosts did another mode. I might be mixing those up. Regardless, this is Infinity Ward's first time with zombies. I had a lot of fun with it. It's pretty sprawling, but there's still the same strategies. Like if you haven't played it, zombies tear down these window boards, and you want to let the first few tear them down so you get extra money for rebuilding them. And then at the end of the round, you want to try to get a crawler, like blow the legs off a zombie, so he gives you more time if he's the last one to run around indefinitely and buy whatever weapons you need off the walls. But yeah, you can bring down David Hasselhoff if you go to this Omnibot over here. I don't know if it's going to show it in this gameplay, but the robot, after you do a set amount of challenges, launches into space, comes back down with David Hasselhoff, and the robot's face looks like Kip from Knight Rider.
Because that's where David Hasselhoff is, right? In space? Just
apparently, yeah. I don't know where they got him, like on the moon or somewhere else, but he comes down, he fights with you for a while. Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, again, it's pretty much just the kitchen sink approach. Like, what crazy things can we do? You activate I don't even know, tilt-a-whirl? I forget what the name of the generic name of the ride would be, but it starts this tornado that sucks zombies up. You can activate bumper cars. You can do a dance floor that's got the zombies become they don't hurt you anymore because they're busy dancing, and then the disco ball becomes lasers and kills them,
that.
Or you if you're on the dance floor.
I like that.
So yeah, no, I mean the zombies, again, it's fun. It's one of my favorite ones. I like it a lot. And then there's multiplayer, which every Call of Duty, that's kind of what I personally judge Call of Duties by. I mean, until this one, but the multiplayer is it's a massive player base. They're always going to make a lot of money because a lot of people are going to play them. It's a yearly release with 3 development studios, and they've always iterated on multiplayer. I feel like this is the least they've done. Because you play specialists from Black Ops 3 are carried over here in form of rigs, which are kind of these character classes in themselves, but they don't factor into the overall picture as much as I would have hoped.
So what I liked about the campaign so much is that there was a really cool dynamic and change of pace. In one moment you're starting a side mission, you're sniping outside of asteroids. Next thing you know, you're inside the spaceship sneaking on board, choosing whether you want to go stealth or not. But I think what was really neat for me that I loved was the zero-G elements of the campaign. And I feel like if the multiplayer was going to, pull from the campaign, I would have liked to have seen a lot more of that type of stuff.
Zero-G stuff.
Right. Like a room in the middle of the map where they could kind of implement these cool changes of pace, because that was, I felt like such a theme, such a heart and soul of this push to go to outer space. Let's just go there and do that in all shapes and fashions, in the multiplayer. I feel like that was kind of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, they kept showing these, a big push with their art direction was to try to combine modern naval technology with NASA. And that goes, carries through in the multiplayer maps, right? There's the one map, Frontier, which is this space station. It's these varying elevations between these corridors and everything. But yeah, like you said, they don't use the space setting to the multiplayer's advantage to make anything interesting. It's just Call of Duty combat, vanilla Call of Duty combat. still feels really good. It's always going to feel good. I think they mastered it like, I don't even know how many years ago. The movement, if I hadn't played Titanfall 2, I would say it feels good, but Titanfall 2 just feels so incredibly great that Call of Duty kind of feels lacking.
And they went all in with that, you know, with wall running. And here it was like, you could do it, but like, would that be like valuable in any way? Like,
no,
I
felt like when I wall run, I just get killed right away. Whereas in Titanfall, it speeds me up and I can drop on people really fast. But the rigs they factor in when you have your ultimate, like the perks that I know you hate when I call it the ultimate. Like, was that you? Yeah, because in Titanfall I was calling about the core abilities.
Yeah, we're so easily swayed to take on new terms.
What should I call it? The ability you build up towards and then you activate.
I don't know.
Climax.
What does the game call it? What
you just climaxed on everyone at that control point. That was the game called?
Yeah, what does the game call it? What does the game call that thing?
Oh,
Jesus.
The rig core ability? No, that's Titanfall.
Yeah, I haven't played multiplayer. I wouldn't know. I mean, I'm
just gonna call it the ultimate. When you activate your superpower, each rig has 2. So this is another layer on top of the pick 10 system that Black Ops 2 introduced. You do pick 10 for your loadout, your weapons, your attachments, your lethal, your regular, or your tactical grenades. The rigs is another layer on top of that where you get one of 2 like ultimate abilities you activate, whether it's a weapon or this like shield charge for certain characters. But then you also have 3 unique perks, one of which you can activate at a time. So it's so each rig. So say you pick Stalker, you can activate the one like stay off radar perk. But you can't use the other 2 unless that's part of the pick 10 system. But they don't really factor in as much as I would like. They don't do enough to actually vary the Call of Duty multiplayer formula. Whereas Black Ops 3, introducing that movement, the movement was different enough from Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare was more shifty kind of, and then Black Ops 3 was going for the more Titanfall kind of fluid movement. Again, this just feels like a very small iteration on Black Ops 3, like Treyarch's multiplayer that they kind of started working on last year. And I know these rigs are kind of an effort from like Infinity War was saying to kind of cater to this crowd, this shooter crowd that's in like, you know, increasingly getting more used to these classes like that stem from like MOBAs. Now you know that you have the term hero shooter, and like even Titanfall's Titans kind of do it too. Their character, like these classes are getting more characterized and more recognizable, kind of like, I don't know, you might see in like a fighting game, just knowing how to counter certain characters or something. I don't feel like the multiplayer did enough for me to really just like, I'm probably not going to go back to it when I have Titanfall and Battlefield and Overwatch still with a new character and everything. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement. This campaign might be one of the better Call of Duty campaigns, in my opinion, especially since Modern Warfare. But I even like this more in Modern Warfare. I think it takes more risk than Modern Warfare did. Not just because of the story, which I actually liked, but the structure of it, right? The seamless structure. Like, how did you feel about this? Like taking off from planets, going to spaceships, coming back down, doing a dogfight.
It's really engaging. Having looked back on it, it makes me almost think like, geez, was the timeline of this whole campaign like 2 days?
Yeah,
like I think you're just constantly not seeing that loading screen, or it's just masked with like really cool, you know, cinematic like shots of like your Jackal ship jettisoning out into space. Yeah, like some of the highlights of that campaign were like, again, these moments of like a side mission, an optional side mission that you don't have to do, and you're just sneaking in and taking over a spaceship from like outside, like, you know, huddling around asteroids, going upside down in 0G, like just really unique stuff that I haven't seen in a game. Like this kind of sci-fi 0G element. Like I don't know if I've ever seen it done well enough where it's like, you know, I guess to a degree believable. But it's great, and the characters were great. The writing was great. Like a lot of, you know, really great in-game characterizations of people, and like development in general of characters, like handling inside the actual gameplay, which is really neat.
Yeah,
like, you know, what you thought was like a battle between 2 characters, something happens during as you're shooting, and then that gets resolved and carries on into the cinematic in the next part. And so
I totally missed what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You mentioned it the next day, and I went back and played it. I was like, oh yeah, I didn't see that. It reminded me like something like Naughty Dog would do with Uncharted.
Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
an
just this,
ongoing
like, in-game
thing.
stuff.
Yeah. Really cool exploration levels. Like I remember there was one level which was really cool. I think it was on like the Mercury one, where like the power kept turning off and on. And it was just a really cool and neat dynamic. For a Call of Duty game, you're exploring and you have to continually turn your flashlight on and off. I don't know. It's, again, for a Call of Duty game, which is so much as far as campaign goes, like so on rails, this felt totally not that. And that was like a really refreshing thing to have happen.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that, I don't know, I sat down and unlike most Call of Duty games, after playing for about 2 hours, I didn't feel like I played like 4 missions. I feel like I just played this 2-hour thing that existed on its own. And I made a weird comparison to you, and I think it made sense though. Maybe it's to Jake. I said it's like the Birdman of video games. It's like they disguise their cuts or loading screens in this case. When you do side missions, they just like warp you to the armory where you pick your loadout, then warp you to the hangar where you get in your Jackal. But you take off yourself. Where most games, when you would finish a dogfight in a Jackal, which we could talk about the Jackal, the dogfights too, it would just end and cut to black and go to the next mission or the cutscene. This, like, you actually have to land your ship again, and then you go into the docking bay where you and your partner Salt, her last name is Salter, you like rotates and you like have this conversation as your ships. You're still in your cockpits. Your ships are going down to the hangar bay. You get out and then you walk back up to the bridge as like Griff, the armory guy, is telling you, oh, that blueprint you picked up will be useful for the next mission. And then you go back up to the bridge. You see
the newscast of like what your effect was.
Which seems like
a little
gimmicky,
frustrating. It's like, can you have the news reporters stop ratting out all of our plans?
How the fuck did you get this scoop like 5 minutes after I blew that
SDF
space
is going to
station
see
up?
this.
Yeah, they didn't know. It's like, oh, they found top secret plans for this planet destroying sphere that they made. But then you go back to the bridge, and you were saying like you go to the center console, and we said it reminded us of Mass Effect, right? You go up to the star map, and you get these side missions. It's either a Jackal dogfight mission, which will improve your Jackal, the starship you're using, or the fighter you're using for dogfights, or you will go to these like infiltration missions, which a lot of times start in 0G or start in your Jackal when you have to infiltrate this battleship. And then you go in and like you put a bomb in the life support systems for this specific room. So then you activate it and you watch the gravity go away and the oxygen go away. And you're in it. I don't want to spoil this, but there's, you put on disguises, you just do stealth, and the stealth feels good. It reminds me of the Metro games. You played those. It's not realistic in terms of like their sight lines and whether they saw you or not. It's enough to like let you have fun with the stealth and actually like kind of crouch around and feel a little powerful, being in the shadows, whatever you want to say.
Right, and it's one of those moments too which is neat. It reminds me of like a Metal Gear game where it's like you are controlling your own stealth until you mess up. And it's your option if you'd like to, go back to a checkpoint, or you just continue the rest of that mission now, with the alarm sounded. Yeah. It might be a little more difficult, but that's how it is, and that's how it's going to be, and that's very unique for me. You think of like all gillied up, like you get spotted for the most part. I think it would reset, right? Like,
yeah,
or parts of that mission at least.
Yeah, it was more like an early Metal Gear Solid where you don't have much of a fighting chance,
right,
in terms of just all out combat. But what did you think? We touched on the Jackal a few times. What did you think of that dogfighting with the controls?
It's pretty good. I thought, like I'm a huge fan of like Sims and having that full like 1-to-1 like rolling ability. It's there on the D-pad, but you're never. It felt more like a tank.
You have to move
a hovering tank, which is fine. Like I enjoyed it. A lot of Star Fox kind of arena type stuff.
Gotcha.
Where it's like, depending on like you're not like flying like through space on like a tangent or like a waypoint. Like you're just kind of like circling an area that's swarming. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed it. I kind of got bored of them. Like I did all the side missions at once, more or less. I think only a couple are given to you as you finish the main campaign storyline. Like you get one or two more, but I did them all at once, which was kind of boring. Some locations seem to be repeated.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's a lot of asteroid fields and like space stations.
Yeah,
I do feel that the Jackal Combat would not be as impressive if it wasn't in a Call of Duty game, just because it's so novel for a Call of Duty. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I like it more for how it fits into the overall sequence of like again leaving your ship, getting into a Jackal, manually taking off, kind of manually using an analog stick to like use your boost, but then you see yourself flying out. You get to the dogfight, do your dogfight. The controls will feel natural to you if you play a lot of first-person shooters because you can just turn on a dime and hover, or just hover in place and just shoot something. There's a lock-on. You still have to be sort of aiming with the lock-on. It just keeps your reticle around the guy.
You're like, the only thing you're really trying to do is just avoid lock-ons. Yeah, you're just hitting your flares when it tells you to.
Yeah.
So it just gets a little boring. Like you kind of see the same thing. You're hitting these bigger sized carriers in the same way. Like it gets a little repetitive. It's still a spectacle. Like you're getting like you're over Earth. You're over Titan. Like that's cool.
This game is gorgeous, especially in those cutscenes that we just saw a few of. Honestly, just there's a part where the ship, or I think it's your Jackal. It's not the Retribution, the carrier, but your Jackal is coming up like the bottom left of the screen, very small. There's a big asteroid just like covering the solar flare from the sun. 'Cause you're on Mercury, and it's just gorgeous how it outlines the ship and everything. That's like one example, but just throughout this game, the cutscenes especially. And again, the cutscenes aren't the only time you're hearing dialogue and you're seeing the story play out. There's a lot of times like Ethan the robot, me and you like love. I think everybody's gonna love Ethan who plays the game.
Yeah.
Ethan is nicknamed for what is his like? It's like a call sign like E3N or something. But he's super amicable and like he makes these jokes. I was just laughing at like someone said, "Oh, you got quite the personality." He's like, "Yeah, I have the brain of a farmer." And then someone's like, "Are you shitting me?" He's like,
shit, really?
Completely. Yeah. I was joking.
No, ma'am. Not at all. He's basically Tars from Interstellar, but like with a much more like endearing, like heart-filled like emotion. Like he just you care about him.
Yeah.
You're like a brother to me. One thing I had just remembered and I haven't brought up until now was I thought the as you like go through armories and it seems like you're getting intel, which then are affecting your suit. Like those, I kept hearing that guy Griff or whatever say, "Oh, we got something new in the armory. Go check out the armory." Mm-hmm. The armory was only there just to customize a loadout. Mm-hmm. Like you're not doing anything with your suit though.
If you press pause at any point in the campaign, on the right side it'll show you all the perks you've accumulated. They're passive.
Okay.
You don't activate them. They're not perks.
That's
like
what was
multiplayer.
frustrating me.
You stack. I got all of them and it like fills up the whole screen. I like faster health regen, more ammo.
But a lot of these perks I didn't even notice.
They weren't something that would just be standout, but I think if you went through the game and played the last mission again without getting any of them, you might notice. I think it makes it like you're gonna want those if you're playing that. So that's the thing. There's that difficulty. I should look this up, but I think it was either there's two more difficulties past just veteran now, which is always like notoriously hard in Call of Duty games because you're just this massive glass cannon. You're doing the normal damage, but you can take like one shot before you're dead. I think it's specialist. There's one where you play through the game until you die, and then there's no checkpoints. You restart the game. So that would be interesting to play that and have that risk reward of, do I go on this mission and get this perk that's going to help me out later on, or do I just try to get through and be super cautious?
Or do I throw my PS4 out the window?
Or do I knee drop it and just say fuck it? Because I don't know. Like I think there's two difficulties. I'm probably mixing one up. The other is just super hard. So I don't think I'm going to go back and play those. I played the campaign. I think I've got enough. But
I was gonna say, like, did you feel like the idea of like you being able to like,
sorry, Goob Shoe Riot just chimed in YOLO mode. I'm not. He is right. That's what it's called. Yeah.
I felt that all the the kind of free roam exploration type stuff. I wouldn't even call it exploration actually, but like going into your cabin and being able to like pull up your monitor and look at the bios of each character. A lot of that serves a cool purpose and it's very unique to the game. But I felt like toward the end, like, are you really checking these things again? Are you checking the board to see what one of these like high commanding officers you killed that are like kind of like what would you even call them, like VIP like kills,
priority targets kind of.
Some of it was like neat, and then toward the end I felt like it just got real.
There's no meaning
pointless.
to it.
There's no point. Like to have your armory, which is something that you get to as you start a mission. A lot of times it's like it'd be cool to have that on the monitor. I don't know. I felt like they almost they could have gone a little bit further with like some of that like free roaming stuff. I would have liked to have been able to like have more customization. Maybe you could you get all these perks. Maybe you can like choose which ones you want on of 5.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So final question: you play Call of Duty pretty consistently over the past 13 years since it started.
Campaign, the stories, yeah.
Where does this one fit, like rank?
I don't know. It's the campaign story is really great. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I could rank it. I'd say it's just in like memory, like it's like one of my favorites as far as like characters that you remember like well after, like Ethan, some of those characters, even like Omar, like Saul, like they have a lot of appeal, and you really feel like you've come to know them because of these really great immersion implementations of like constantly interacting with them. As you're playing the game, and it's like, hold on, I'm not gonna go kill someone, or I'm gonna wait and hear what this person has to say. That feels like a choice, and that's pretty neat to see these characters grow over time. Mm-hmm. I am definitely excited to see if they continue this to be a trilogy or whatever. I'd like to see where this goes for sure.
Yeah.
Like I want to, I want to know what happened or happens after, the end of this game.
Yeah, I think it would be safe to assume that it's going to be a trilogy. I know that was their intent with Ghosts, but then Ghosts wasn't that poorly received at the time. Like, are you looking at Metacritic? It's sitting around like 8 something. But like, despite people's bad memories of it not innovating much, and of course that was like Infinity Ward's first full game after the departures that formed Respawn Entertainment in like 2010 with Vince Zampella and Jason West leaving. But this one definitely didn't leave a bad taste in my mouth at all. I'd encourage people to go try this campaign. I know like it's Call of Duty and there's kind of negativity surrounding that because it's the annual release and people think it plays it safe. This campaign, I actually think they took really cool risks with. Highly encourage people, if you're a fan of shooters, definitely. If you just want something to check out, go see how they do this campaign. It's pretty impressive. But yeah. So our review is up on GameSpot. Miguel Concepcion, a freelancer, did it. He gave it an 8 out of 10. You can go read the full thing and watch the video on YouTube or on GameSpot. Let us know what you think in the comments below.